right, welcome back, and we're going to be going over patent number 2 here at New Kingdom, and I will be happy to walk you through it. Of course, I'm Peter Michael Martinez. I'm the inventor of the 14 patents that I'll be reviewing. So happy to have you along and happy to explain to you some of the technology that we have put together here at New Kingdom that we are quite happy about and believe can be incredibly impactful in the world that we live in. And many of you are waking up and realizing that you cannot put the genie back in the bottle, if you will. You cannot put Humpty Dumpty back together again. We are in a new era. We are going to move forward in the digital era, whether we like it or not. There's going to be a lot of pushback with the technology that is being utilized right now, which is highly inefficient. So you're going to see some things that are going to come out, but going backward is probably not going to happen, uh, barring some catastrophic event. And so, in that light, we have to all prepare. We've got to get on board with where we are in time, where we are in terms of the development of our economy and the things that are affecting our world, affecting our children, and so forth. So, this is why these things are very important to us. And when they impact families, when they affect the results of parenting and so forth, well, then now we have a massive reason to get involved. And so, hence the patents that we have come up with here at New Kingdom. And the next one that we're going to be reviewing is patent number 2, and that is our Harmony patent. This patent is squarely at the heart of what we do here and deals with the issue of marriage. And one of the major problems that we're having in our world, of course, is divorce and the breakdown of the family. And so, our task here, I believe, is to do everything we can to use every tool we possibly can, weaponize it against divorce. That's our real enemy, and that's what we're coming for. So, we utilize these technologies to enhance things that we've learned over decades of ministry and utilize them effectively, hopefully, in your lives and the lives of those that can utilize this technology. And this patent covers marriage restoration technology. It is a revolutionary 4-phase therapeutic system that, again, based on years of ministry, which guides couples from crisis to renewed connection through proven psychological progression that has been proven to work. So the difference is it's available 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. There's no wait list. There's no geographical barriers. This is huge for recovery of marriages and recovery of relationships, really covenant of any kind. So you can utilize the same technology with regard to business covenant, ministry covenants, friendships of all kinds. Again, require harmony. We got 39 claims that are protected. The valuation, as you will see as we go on, is upwards to 350 million. The marriages that we, of course, can address, there are a billion marriages globally. And of course, there are 4 therapeutic phases. Let's go over this very quickly. Of crisis, of course, is that there's a massive number that not only get divorced, but how many marriages are on the brink of or are hanging on by a thread. So when you add those numbers together, the numbers become very staggering. And not because couples don't want to save them, but because they can't get help when they need it. And we've lost a lot of good examples. The marriage counseling system is, in fact, broken, and families are paying the price. And so this is something near and dear to our hearts here, of course, because we're all about preserving the family, preserving life. And so we have a generation of broken families, and every year millions of marriages are failing globally. Children grow up in split households, and financial devastation, of course, follows. And emotional trauma ripples on for decades. There are people that I've talked with and know of that are in their 40s, some 50s, some even in their 60s, are still impacted by a divorce that they, as a child or as a young person, had to overcome their parents' divorce. And so this is a huge epidemic in our world. But here's what most people realize is that they don't realize is that the majority of these divorces were preventable. And couples did want help. Many of them regret that they ended up down that road. They just didn't get it in time. And that's one of the major things that has long disturbed me. And so finding solutions for that in this critical hour is, well, quite important. So right now, here's the current situation. If you look out there today, if your marriage is in trouble, you've already experienced this. If you've tried to reach out to get help, to get someone to sit down with you to help you mitigate some of those challenges, you're looking at massive wait lists. And that's if you can even find someone that you can feel comfortable with and trust, that you feel can handle the situations that you're dealing with in your particular marriage. Again, remember, every relationship is different. So when a marriage is in crisis, every day matters. And the average therapy wait list is up to 6 weeks or maybe longer. And by the time help arrives, walls have been built. Remember, the scripture tells us to not let the sun go down in our anger. And so we're supposed to get immediate help if possible. And so this is where, again, good parenting, good training has been lost. Good modeling has been lost. So we need to recover a lot in our society. Hearts have been hardened. By this point, lawyers have been contacted. By the time usually you finally get to a counseling session, it becomes a almost formality. And decisions have already been made, and the help essentially comes too late. So relationships are devastated by this very simple thing. And even when you can get help, this is something else that we discovered as we began to look deeply into this particular area. The costs are prohibitive. So not only are you dealing with a relationship that is most likely already in trouble, and that, of course, is affecting that couple economically, almost always does, and affecting children. And on top of that, to make matters worse, to remedy the problem. So either way you go, whether you're remedying it or you are destroying, either way, it's going to be expensive. And so here again, this is where couples usually try to forego both directions and again, try to limp along, which does not work either. So the cost could be anywhere from $100 to $300 per session. Most couples need 20 sessions. That's you get the cost. Okay, so in rural areas, they often have no marriage counseling or marriage help or mitigation of conflict of any kind. So this becomes, again, egregious in areas. And again, when the economy gets tougher, when things get more difficult, these things are exacerbated even more. So even more do we need in solutions. And so Harmony is an instant access solution that we've created that makes therapeutic help available immediately, not after 2 or 3 weeks, long after an argument is long cold, but right away. This is important because Harmony provides immediate access to therapeutic guidance, no wait list, no scheduling, no geographic barriers. So you can see where this patent is very important. Available when the fight happens at midnight. So it's not something that has to wait. Available during the argument itself. In fact, you can even have it mitigate arguments and disputes because, again, it's there for your harmony to get you back together. That's the goal, and it's based in the scripture, of course, and principles that are based in the scripture are foundational to this patent. And again, the goal is to bring us back together. Remember, this is the point of therapy, is to help resolve issues, resolve problems. But remember, there's an actual physical cost. There's a dollar amount cost, if you will. There's not only the cost of the therapy itself, but the time off work and the costs of travel and everything else that may be associated. So if we reduce just 1% of traditional therapy, couples that are paying these kinds of ridiculous numbers, we're not only helping out economically, or not only helping out in terms of relationship, we're also helping economically, which is a much more reasonable thing for couples to seek out. And that is important. Now, that again, the technology can't come second. So it has to use actual progressive and valuable therapeutic value has to be presented, or this won't work. So each phase must be completed before advancing. It's got powerful technology that is built into the patent to prevent people from abusing the system, essentially, and bringing forth real, actual healing, real, actual harmony. There's a reason why I believe having a third party in the room is actually a problem. There are certain elements of intimacy between a couple that really just cannot be expressed or shouldn't be in front of a third party. And so there are things that just frankly no one can help you with, that you have to simply have guidance or training or help But it is really up to these two people to figure out how to rebuild their attraction, if you will, reveal whatever secrets there are, and of course, develop that intimacy that and ultimately recovers the relationship. So all we can do is provide the pathway and the tools, and that's where this patent becomes incredibly important. So, number one phase is releasing years of accumulated resentment. Anybody that follows this methodology will have results. All we did was automate it or put it in a system that is now again patented, but it does work. So, you have to clear things, especially surface issues. You'd be surprised how many pet peeves people accumulate in relationships, or whether it's a marriage or a business. Again, clear pet peeves, clear light offenses, clear things that may interfere with harmony. Get those out of the way. And then again, many times there are deeper wounds that are sitting there that just simply no one asked. And now you're in a safe place where you can ask those questions so you get to clear the debris of old wounds. And that's important for moving forward. Remember, a lot of times the reason why people are attracted to a new relationship is because there's no clearing to be done. There's brand new and you get no old stuff. Well, if you just keep this clear, you don't you don't create an atmosphere where that vacuum is there. So it's a very intelligent way to maintain a relationship. And of course, that leads right to attraction, the reason why you came together to begin with. So whether you're a marriage or even a ministry or business partnership, or it could be a community development program, it doesn't matter. You always have to remember why you did what you did and why you came into agreement to begin with. The reason why things break down, the reason why people became truce breakers is because they lost sight of the vision. And the scripture tells us that without a vision, the people will perish. So remembering and rediscovering what drew you together, what caused the covenant to begin with, and bringing that back to life is very important before you move on. So again, in a marriage, you can see very easily why that would be important. If there are things interfering with attraction, if there are things that have crept in to the relationship that are now warring against that unity, those things need to be expressed and revealed. And so this is where this patent really comes in handy. And of course, those secrets between a couple are their private information. This is why I don't believe a third party has any business here. As a matter of fact, frankly, I think a third party interferes with the intimacy of this particular moment in this process. And so this is where we actually enjoy a massive advantage because we are not involved in those conversations. And our technology is just that, it's just tech. It's not a person in the room. And so that is very, very important. And then finally, you get to integrate all of that into your full therapeutic value. And so this is where the patent becomes more than just a um, clever system, but actually has impact in relationships that then ripple beyond the relationship to those that are impacted by it. Because many times people forget that it's not just that marriage or just that covenant that is under threat, but everything that's connected to it. If that falls apart, it's going to ripple. So we have certain elements that keep the participants safe. So you've got dual consent entry protocols that are part of this patent, which are incredibly important because of the fact that it is voluntary, and each part of the covenant, if you will, has to enter willingly into harmony and cannot be forced into harmony. So that protects the wife. One of the things the husband finds out upon entering harmony is here you are not in command. Harmony determines when you move from phases 1 to 2 to 3 to 4. We detect that there's still stuff that needs to get cleared out. We're not going anywhere. We're going to sit right there, no matter how long it takes, because after all, you can't fake success. So both partners have to agree to enter harmony. No one is forced, no one is ambushed, and consent is the foundation of all healing work. And so basically, we have to verify that. And then covenant name is very important as well. This also restores. Many times, this alone can bring healing into a relationship where a woman has to say her full name to come into harmony. And that requires the saying of her married name, which is very precious, actually. And of course, there's phase lock prevention. So you cannot force or skip to the part you like. That doesn't work that way. So in that sense, it allows you the time and the processing needed for each phase to properly do its therapeutic work. And so you can't skip phases. The system detects attempts to rush ahead and gently redirects. Real healing takes time. And we compel honesty, but we can't force it. So we create conditions where truth naturally emerges, not through force, but through safety. And when people feel truly safe, secrets surface on their own, and harmony engineers that safety. And of course, one of those elements is that a person can, in fact, exit freedom or exit harmony at any time. You have exit freedom, if you will. And that's important because sometimes what you may learn some things that hit you emotionally, devastate you, take you time to process. You should not be forced, either one, to process that right away. You may need time. And so this is where protection is afforded. And it's very valuable, as you'll see, because either partner can exit at any time. There's no trapping, there's no guilt, there's no pressure, and safety is paramount. If someone needs to leave, they can leave. And this freedom paradoxically creates space to stay. Okay, so if you're committed to their safety, well, then they're going to more likely enter harmony on their own. And so that's what you want because you can't force it. We do use music as a trigger because music is extremely powerful, used by our enemy, of course, used by evil forces all the time. And we weaponize it for good to recover people. Shared songs in a relationship are often used therapeutically and can, in fact, break down what otherwise would be very hard walls. So it's an underutilized technology that we weaponize again against divorce. And the other thing that we do is we use harmony and we weaponize it against crisis. So again, our job is to go against frustration and crisis and help people recover. And so harmony doesn't treat all situations the same. It detects crisis severity and adjusts intervention accordingly. Mild frustration may just get a few photographs, a few images to bring that person back to where we want them. Other active conflict gets more immediate de-escalation protocols. And suicidal into ideation triggers emergency responses, kind of an all hands on deck effort to save the life. And of course, we have to read the room and respond accordingly. So this is where, again, our patent takes it to next level. And what we do, of course, is protect the family. That's our ultimate goal. We want to make sure that in phase one, we clear those things that are interfering with the success of the covenant. In phase two, we restore the reason why the covenant was established. Phase three is integration, because without that vulnerability, without that transparency, there can be no covenant. And so this is actually the part of the covenant that is incredibly important and valuable, that which the two of you would protect. And then finally, the actual integration, the pattern establishment, and you start to celebrate this newfound connection. And this becomes your new life, and it's portable. That phase four is everywhere you go. So traditional therapy has no structure. That's one of the reasons why they typically fail. Sessions meander based on whatever the couple brings that day. And anybody that sat through this knows this. Progress is inconsistent and regression is common. Harmony's four-phase system provides clear progression. Couples know where they are, where they're going, and what comes next. And this structure itself is therapeutic. We have additional, of course, things that are connected to it. You're welcome to look through those. The technical elements that are protected, of course, are critical to our technology and, of course, protect our rights, if you will, as the developers of it, so that we can take the resources that we develop from this and utilize it to actively help the remnant directly. So for those of you curious about the proceeds and why the valuations are so important and being able to use them as leverage for lending and what have you, is for the benefit of the remnant, the benefit of my brethren. So anyone who thought otherwise, I guess now you've just been updated. And that's exactly why we went and did what I did. So again, our goal here with this particular patent is saving families. And we need to take a look at some of the ancillary benefits of that as well, because again, children who keep both parents, what's the value of that? This isn't an abstract technology. This is a mother and father staying together for their children. And this is a child who doesn't have to split holidays between homes. It's a family that heals instead of fractures. And harmony doesn't just save marriages, it saves the people inside those marriages. And that also includes business partners, friends, others that are impacted by a breakdown of a relationship. Many times people do not count those costs till well after the fact. And that is when you find out the ripple effect of the breakdown. And so, is it valuable? You bet. A billion marriages worldwide. Addressable market is a staggering billion marriages. And that's a crazy number if you really think about it. And if we can just help 1/10 of 1% of struggling marriages, that's millions of families, millions of children that are impacted. So was it worth the effort? Absolutely. And that, of course, explains the patent valuation and why you're going to see the values where they are. And so that you can understand why they're valued that way is not just, somebody's wishing it's that way. No, these valuations are based on actual addressable market. I'm going to show you here in a moment where we have those summarized. But again, this is there for you to be able to understand how this technology actually impacts us right down where we live. Because again, when do you need this intervention? Do you need it? Help is never convenient. It's many times when the divide happens is not a convenient time. And so again, domestic violence, domestic intervention, the most difficult police call that intervention has. I mean, it's a real big problem, and to be able to address it even in a minute way is huge. And so we at least wanted to bring what we could to this area. So the moment of marriage needs help is never 9 a.m. on a Tuesday; it's 2 a.m. after the fight went too far. And traditional therapy scheduling requires weeks in advance scheduling and traveling to an office. And then you got to pay the per session rates. And by the time the appointment arrives, a moment has passed and the decision has already been made. Many times positions have already been hardened by this point. So again, hope that's there when you need it if you are in a situation like that. If you're a developer, well, let's take a look at it from a business standpoint. I like this look because not only is it in terms of its own valuation, but how does it impact businesses when people aren't getting divorced and when they're happily married? How does that impact business? How does that impact community? How does that impact working together? I mean, it just has dramatic ripple effect. And then for development, if you're a developer, this four-phase protocol integrated in any of your products that you are building that are building on innovation for families, well, you're going to have cutting edge technology at your fingertips. So this is huge at this point. And quickly going over, let's quickly look at newkingdomfinancial.net for the valuation mechanisms that are being used to evaluate this. And again, we utilize the same standard systems that are used by banks and other valuation systems. And so this has to pass muster, if you will. If you're going to borrow against, for example, an asset, it has to, they're going to give it a 90% haircut. And it still has to hold value, right? So, and so there you have it. But nevertheless, you have to be able to defend your value. Right now, we've got this valued at $350 million for Harmony. And some of you can easily see how that would be justifiable depending upon the licensing and the way that it is implemented in different technologies. So this, again, is a patent that is integrated with other patents in our portfolio. So it doesn't necessarily stand alone. It works together with Inconverso, which we'll be talking about as we go, along with the Living FAQ, which would remember the things, the preferences of that particular person. So again, all these things begin to work together. And as you see them working together, then you begin to understand not only the individual value of the patents, but the ecosystem itself and how it multiplies. And so hopefully that makes sense. And that is patent number 2. And that'll take care of that discussion. And we will see you when we are discussing patent number 3. Thanks again.